Right, how's it going guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Jerry and I do plant related videos. If you do like what you see, please do subscribe and leave a like if you would like to. I just wanted to show some of the stuff I got for my birthday yesterday. No, 2 days ago. I got a few plant related bits from my family and friends, so I just thought I'd show them. And then I'm going to sow a few seeds and give you a couple of updates on some of the plants that are looking really good at the moment. So it's just a bit of a mishmash of stuff, but I thought it'd be cool. So I'll start off with the bits that I got for my birthday. This isn't everything that's plant related. This is just a few bits that were kind of relevant to the video, I guess. So first off, I got this Tradescantia Nanook with this really nice little pot. I got that from my brother, and the colour on the underside of the leaves, wait, let me show you, is like a super vibrant pink, and that's just really cute. So there's two little plants in there, and I'm hoping that I'll be able to grow that bigger and then propagate it and have a fuller like pot full. But yeah, so that's really cute. And then my parents got me a plant pot, which is really like a proper quirky one. My parents always pick out like really quirky plant pots, which funnily enough, I've got another one here that they got me for Christmas a few years ago, which I'm going to be potting something into in this video. But yeah, so I've got this really cool plant pot. It does have a hole in the bottom. So that'll be nice and easy to plant something in and keep it alive. I just thought it was really, really nice, really cool. And then, what else was there? Right, my nan got me a spathiphyllum, so the like regular variety. I don't know the exact cultivar name of this one, but I don't have this one, and it's got a lot of flowers coming in. As you know, I have the spathiphyllum sensation already, and I have the spathiphyllum diamond, which is over there and up there. So yeah, it's really, I've never actually had a normal spathiphyllum before, so it's gonna be cool because it's just like, it's a new plant to me, which is odd because like a lot of people start with a plant like that. So yeah, that's gonna be cool, see how it grows. And then a couple of bits, oh, I got this really cool bird feeder for Christmas from my friend, Carnivorous Plant Girl, which is like is an acorn bird feeder. So you unscrew these bits and put the seeds in there, and it hangs like off a tree or on the fence or something. I thought it was really, really nice. Ooh. And then I went to a garden centre yesterday. I went to two garden centres. I went to, I don't know where they were. I went to Summer Hill, and then there was a second one I went to, something, I can't remember what it was called. Anyway, that doesn't matter, right? And I actually bought some begonias. These are like the tuberous begonias, so there's 3 tubers in there. And these are like, you grow them as outdoors in pots for the summer. So there's that variety, which I think looks a little bit like a pansy. But I don't know, I know you can't really see the foliage in that picture, but I just thought I really wanted to try it just to see how it does. I think I've only ever grown this sort of tuberous outdoor begonia once in my life, and that was when I was like 14. So since then I've never really wanted to grow outdoor begonias because I've always kind of disliked them. But this year I've actually bought quite a few because I've got this variety as well. What's it called? Aztec Gold. So it's quite a big, like, trailing sort of begonia. And these are definitely love or hate. I used to hate them, but I'm now starting to, I don't know, I'm just really intrigued by them, and I just really want to see how they grow. And if they're like problematic or untidy looking, then I probably won't do them again. But yeah, I definitely want to give them a go. Right, what else was there? There's a few other bits that I want to show, but I might sow some seeds. No, oh yeah, this guy. I bought this guy at the garden centre as well. And this one was really interesting because it looks very similar to the what's it like, the kalanchoe that is this. If you guys know what I'm talking about, you'll know. But there's a kalanchoe that looks exactly like this, but they had one of those next to this, and it had a different variety name. But this is a kalanchoe as well, auricula red, and it actually has leaves on here similar to the ogre ear, like crassula. So I was really intrigued by it, and I wasn't sure exactly how it's going to grow, like what its growth habit is going to be like when it gets bigger. So I picked that up. That was £6, but I was just too intrigued by it to not pick it up. And the red coloration is most likely from a lot of like high intense sun, which I'm not really going to be able to give it too much of here. This window gets a lot of morning sun, but then nothing in the afternoon. So it may lose some of its coloration, but I'm still intrigued by it. And I'm going to pot this into this pot. I know it's a little bit smaller, but this is like a succulent. It doesn't really need a huge root system. So I'm going to put it in there, and I think it'll look really cool. So I might do that first. Yeah. I'll do that now, but let me just change the camera angle so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Right, okay, so I'm probably going to have to knock off quite a bit of soil off of this little guy, depending on how established the roots are. I did water this just yesterday because it was super, super dry. That's why it's quite wet. Yeah, no, the roots are not very well established. So I don't mind taking a lot of this off. Plus, it's kind of really, not really the sort of soil I want this to be grown in. I'm going to add a bit more perlite and stuff so that it has a bit better aeration in the soil, because this is going to get really cloggy and potentially will rot the roots if it stays wet for a bit too long. I'm being a bit cautious about how much soil I'm actually going to take off though, because I can hear that it's damaging some of the roots, and they're quite fibrous roots, so maybe that'll be enough to take off. And because it's going in such a small pot that actually doesn't have any drainage, I might add a bit of, oh no, I don't have it with me in here. Let's see. So the soil I've got is pretty, like, it's got a lot of perlite in there, so it's going to drain all right. Well, I say drain all right. I'm just going to, as long as I don't water it a lot, then it'll be okay. There we go. And then I'll just backfill with some of that. And good news on this guy, I didn't see any root mealies when I was unpotting it, so I think we're safe in that regard. Let's get this in here. I also made a moss pile for my philodendron melanochrysum, which I'll show you guys in a minute. I've made I'd say it's not really a self-watering pot, but moss pile, because, well, I guess it kind of is, but it's one of the moss piles that's, you put a bottle of water in the top, and then it soaks it all into the moss pile by itself over time. So I'll show you that in a minute, and it's working really well so far. I only did it like a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks. But yeah, my plan is to get the melanochrysum really big and impressive. Okay, we've got loads of soil on the pot, but that looks really cool. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That looks very nice. I'm not going to water this for a good, I'd say maybe 2 weeks. And then I'll let it completely dry out between watering, because this thing just does not want to be damp for any long period of time. Especially considering the pot doesn't have a drainage hole, but that looks really cool. I'm happy with that. Right, okay, I'm really happy with that. I think that looks adorable. It looks exactly how I was hoping it would look. Yeah, I'm well happy with that. And I'll keep you guys updated with how that does. I'm gonna try and keep it in gonna try and give it as much sun as I can, in hopes that it keeps that nice color. Right, so I'm going to quickly sow the seeds I'm doing. I'm not going to show the whole process because it may be a little bit boring to watch. But I'm going to sow some Rebecca seeds. This is Gloriosa daisies. I'm going to sow some lamb's ears, which I collected. Collected these maybe a year or 2 or 3 ago. So hopefully they'll come up, but if not, no worries. But that is Stachys Byzantinia lanata. And I grew these from seed once before and they grew so easy and they just spread really nicely. But then one winter, I think I had them maybe 2 or 3 years, and then one winter they just like rotted off in the winter. Not really entirely sure why, but they just didn't survive that winter. I think maybe it was a bit too wet that year. Then I've got this ratibida, which is, they look very similar to Rebecca's, but I saw those yesterday at Garden Centre and I thought they were too interesting to not try to grow. And they are perennials. Yeah, all of these are perennials. So I'm just going to plant them in these little pots here and then keep them on the windowsill. I'm going to actually reuse some of this compost. It doesn't look bad in any way, so let's reuse that, might as well. I'm going to try and grow a lot of things from seed this year, because I've got a massive, yeah, it is pretty big, the garden. It's going to cost a lot to buy a lot of plants for it. Oh, another plant that I haven't shown. I knew there was something else that I hadn't shown. My partner bought me a cherry tree, it's a fastigiate cherry tree. So it's one of the ones that grows upright, like a column rather than branching out. It's in the front garden at the moment. Maybe when it flowers, if it blossoms this year, which it probably won't blossom this year, it might blossom next year. But when it does, I'll show you guys definitely, because I was looking at getting one of those for the front garden, and then he got me one, so that was very nice. But yeah, there was that as well. Okay, right, because I've only grabbed 2 pots because I don't want these to take up too much space, because they are they're not 9 centimeters, are they? Maybe like 7.5 centimeters, I don't know. Because they're going to take up too much space if I do one type of seed per pot. I'm just going to do 2 types of seeds in one pot and then 1 type of seed in the other pot. Yeah, and because I'm going to put these over the top of them to keep them a bit warmer, and I've only got 2 of those, so it worked out that way. It was just easier that way. Anyway, I don't need to over-explain. Right, and I'm just going to have these in these little trays so that I can keep them watered. So first up, I'm going to do the ratibida. Never heard of them before. When I saw them, I thought they were a type of Rebecca, but apparently not. So yeah, I'm probably going to sow, well, depending on how many are in there. Sounds like there's a lot. Well, yeah, 250 seeds. So I'm going to sow not that many. I'll sow maybe 30. And because so my greenhouse should be coming, hopefully, within 1 or 2 weeks. I'm soon going to have a lot of space. So if these do germinate, if I do get a lot of them, I can prick them out and put them into their own pots. So I'll have a lot of space to do that, which means that I'll probably have a better chance of actually doing it because I'll have enough space. Yeah, I'll probably say about that many. There we go. I'm gonna sprinkle them on the surface, try and evenly space them apart, which is not going to be too important, just as long as you don't sow them too densely. Because I was reading about this actually, and it's so there's this common occurrence with newly germinating seeds called damping off, and it's if you sow them too densely, they kind of just rot and it will kill all of them. and I was reading about it, and it was saying that if you apply fertilizer on seedlings, because of the salt content in the fertilizer, it increases the likelihood of you having to, like, of them damping off and all rotting. So just in case you guys are fertilizing your seedlings, you do not need to do that. Just wait until you've pricked them out and transplanted them into their own containers. Wait for them to grow a little bit, because there is enough nutrients in multi-purpose compost to maintain small seedlings for a while. So once they start growing a bit more vigorously, then you can you'll be better off applying fertilizer then, because then you won't have any risk of them rotting off. Less risk, I'll say. Cool. Okay, so that was, oh, I wrote out the labels. That was the rat beater. I don't know why that word is not working with my brain, but there we go. Okay, I'm just going to sew the other ones off camera, because I know you're just going to watch me do the same thing again twice. Yeah, I'll be right back. Right, okay, so I've sewn those in there. I've put one on one side, one on the other side, just to save on space. And then as soon as they germinate and they're big enough to prick out, so once they have the 1 or 2 sets of true leaves, which is the leaves that look like the mature plant, then I'll prick them out and pot them up individually. But I'm just going to have them on the windowsill in a tray with a little thing over it like that. So it's like a little makeshift propagator. Even though I do have a spare propagator under here, like a massive one, I just don't have the windowsill space for it right now. So I'm just gonna make this work for now. Ooh, my hand's shaking. So I'm obviously gonna water these in a second. I'll do that after. And have them like that. Cool. And that works pretty well. And I'm leaving the tops off so that they do have some, it's not really gonna make much, like give much air circulation, but it will, like, if it gets too humid in there, it's gonna reduce the humidity a little bit with the cap off. So that's that. Okay, and I think I'll just show you guys some of the plants that are doing really well, and then call it a day. Ooh, my hands are shaking so much when I lift these up. Okay, right, so I'll quickly show you let me bring the camera up a bit. Oh, there we go. So I've got another begonia I need to show you guys as well. This is my philodendron melanochrysum, and you guys have seen it multiple times before. But yeah, this moss pole, it's not super tall, but I didn't want it too tall straight away because it would look a bit silly. It doesn't need to be that tall. But yeah, the moss pole here, and then I just put a bottle of water upside down in the top, and obviously I've punctured a couple of holes in the lid of the bottle, and then it slowly soaks into the moss pole and keeps it damp. And I've tied the stem with a wire to the moss pole. This is not really going to be easy to show you. No, you can't see from the back. Yeah, so this stem here, I've tied it with a bit of wire to the moss pole, so that hopefully it starts rooting into the moss pole. And there is a new leaf coming, which looks like it's going to be very small, which is not a problem obviously, but yeah, it just looks like it's going to be a small leaf that comes out. So I've done that, and that is really good. I'm happy with that. And so far watering has not been any trouble. Literally it's only been like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I assume the longer it goes, sometimes it's going to feel a little bit inconvenient watering it. But to be fair, all I've got to do is fill a water bottle and tip it in the top, like stick it in the top. But I'm sure that's still going to somehow be too much work for me one day. There's a couple of bits I wanted to show. Okay, I've got a bit of a numb foot right now, so I'm going to try and not fall over. Right, so first up, this begonia is the begonia Fero, or Ferox, however you pronounce that. And it's growing really nicely, and my plan with these begonias was to put them into a propagator to keep them humid. But to be fair, the humidity in this room at the moment is 77%. which I think has been enough for these guys. I've just noticed that it's like a bit grossly hairy on the back. Let me try and show you. Like, it's not really going to show up on camera. Maybe I'll film a little bit of that and put it over this, but it's like, it looks like a bit mycelium-y. But this has grown so well in, like, not in a propagator, so I may try and see how long I can keep this out of a propagator for. Yeah, so when I unboxed it, this was a new leaf just coming, and it's now opening up nicely, and you can see the younger leaves. I never know whether to call them the younger leaves or the older leaves, because it's the younger leaves in terms of the plant's maturity, but it's the older leaves because they've been out for longer. I'm going to say the younger leaves have less spikes on, and then the newer leaves, older leaves, these leaves have come out absolutely covered in spikes. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that as open as this leaf, because it's just going to look crazy. So that is doing really well. Then I've got, right, I've got this Alocasia poly here, Alocasia amazonica, which my friend has given me to keep. I've adopted it, she said, because I'm not really sure why, but she was just not wanting it anymore. So I'm taking it on as a bit of a adoption plant. I can see in the bottom there, I don't know if you guys can see it, just here, there's a new bit of growth coming. So I think it's going to do okay. The only thing I'm worried about is the temp, like these burns on the leaves, I think were from her propagator light. I haven't asked her, I'll speak to her about it after, but it looks like they're just sunburns. So they're not going to kill the plant. It's not diseased or anything, and hopefully the new growth will come through nicely, if and when it does. Right, okay, and then in this propagator here, this is the one that I put my begonia propagations in once I transplanted them from the propagation box. And these are doing so good. Let me show you a couple of them quickly. I'll show you all of them. Right, this is a begonia breakdance. This was the baby one out of the ones that I transplanted out of the propagator box. And it's flowering. And I read online, oh, they're so pretty. They've got little tiny specks on. I read online that you can keep begonia pollen in the fridge, apparently, for up to a year. So I'm going to collect the pollen off of the male flowers, and because they send out a flash of male flowers first, and then later followed by female flowers. So I'm going to try and keep the pollen and do a cross, because my other begonia is flowering at the same time. So I'm kind of excited that hopefully, if I try, I'll be able to get a cross pollination and get some seeds. Right, this is the new begonia that I've adopted also from my friend. This is the Silver Jewel. It's looking really pretty. It's definitely not a variety that I would buy myself, but I think that's a cool thing, because then it means I'm trying a variety that I wouldn't ordinarily try. And it's just super silver, and it's fluffy, and it's got these little like dark edges around it. It's got a new leaf coming in, like completely white. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that grows. And yeah, I'll pop that. I need some space in here. Right. My begonia Helen Tupel is doing really well, but it does need a bigger pot now, and it's growing huge, and it's like, you can see the size from the bag. It's just massive in this tiny pot. And I'm proper impressed with that. It's growing so nicely. And that was just a leaf propagation that I wasn't even aware that I'd taken. I did try and look back at my old videos to see when I took this propagation, but could I find it? No. So maybe it was a gift from who knows what. Right, and then there's another begonia breakdance here, which is bigger than the first one. But I'd say that the smaller one has grown a lot quicker than this one, because this one, though it was bigger in the first place, has not grown, I don't know, at the same pace, I don't think. But it is also flowering. You can just see some flowers here. And I'm just so happy that I have multiple of the breakdance because it is stunning and very hard to find. Oh, that leaf's broken off. I'll just get rid of that. I'll put that in my propagation box. Right, this one, I've already forgotten the name. This is a brand new one to me. This begonia I got recently and it's still doing all right. Like, it's still looking the same. It hasn't really spread out at all, but to be fair, I do have it in a very cramped propagator, so maybe that's why. What was this one called? Kingiana? Yeah, Begonia Kingiana. Looking good, like, yeah, I'm happy with that. Can't really say too much, it hasn't done anything. So next up I have Begonia Green Sumatra, or Sumatra Green. This is the one that I had to stick up with a stake. Stake up with a stick. The stick is here. And it's got a new leaf coming in, so it's obviously enjoying its transition. I took this out of the propagator recently, like a few weeks ago. I don't know when, a couple of weeks ago, but it's definitely a lot more sturdy now. It was falling over, but so that's good because it means it's rooted nicely into the pot. Yeah, really nice. The colour contrast is so pretty. And I'm really happy that I saved this plant because this is the first plant that my partner ever bought me. So I was like really worried when it was dying because the main plant died, but this was a propagation from that main plant. So I was very happy that I've kept it alive. And I do still have another propagation of it in this propagation box here, which is doing very well. Right, next up I have my begonia. This is the Begonia Cleopatra. Only got 2 leaves on it now. I did cut one off to propagate it because I was a bit worried that this one would just decline and die straight away. It's doing okay. Like, I'm not going to say it looks really good because it doesn't. Like, the leaves are beautiful, but the plant itself doesn't look super healthy. I don't see any, well, there's like some tiny little new growth points, but they're too small for me to be like, oh, it's growing new leaves, because they may never come to anything, but it's alive. And that is good. This is still quite wet, actually. Maybe I'll let this dry out a little tiny bit. This is a Syngonium albo, which was a gift from a subscriber. And it was in my propagator, and the new, wait a second, it sent out a new leaf and I hadn't even noticed. There's a new, waiting for the drips to drop. This greenish leaf here is the brand new one, because for a really long time this was the new leaf and it just stopped growing. It wasn't growing anymore, and I was thinking, oh, okay, because the newest leaf has come out entirely variegated, it's not going to grow out anymore. But then it's put out a less variegated leaf. So what I did was, because this half here was the top growth of this plant, I cut it off, propagated it back into the soil. So now there'll be a growth point here, and then this leaf here has its own node. You probably can't see it. Yeah, the node is just under here. So that is going to grow out as well. So it'll create a more full plant. And yeah, I'm happy that's growing. And the new leaves come out really beautifully variegated. It's got like white and light green variegation. Nice. Cool. I'm not sure. I think that might have been everything that I'm going to show you for today. There was something else. Oh yeah, I'll quickly just show you all the flowers on my big begonia that is flowering at the moment. Begonia Zumba, I think it's called. Something like that. Right, so this begonia is like mega huge. I've never owned a begonia that has got this big before, and I'm not gonna say it's entirely from my doing. To be fair, I've had it long enough now that I can claim that this is my growth. But look at the size of this. I've got a sign in there, a label, sorry, with its cultivar, and it's just covered in flowers. So these are all male flowers as far as I've noticed. These are all just male flowers which come out of the pollen first. You can see here, this flower here is open. but I don't think it's got any active pollen yet. Let me touch it and see if, no, nothing's coming off yet. So that may need another day or two to kind of release its pollen. Yeah, Begonia Zumba, and it's just huge, and I don't like, I'm not going to put it into a bigger pot because I'm worried that if I change the situation it's in, then it may dry out slower, which then could cause root rot or something like that. So I'm going to leave it in the pot that it's in. It is still just in its nursery pot. Let me try and show you guys. I think it's a 12 centimetre pot under there. And it's damp at the moment because I watered it yesterday. But it is just massive, huge. And the leaves are such a nice colour. So I'm hoping that I could cross-pollinate this variety with the Begonia Breakdance, because if it works, I'm absolutely new to this. I've never crossed any begonias before in my life. So that's the aim. I'm going to cross this with the Begonia Breakdance if I can save the pollen, because I think that will come out really cool if I am able to grow it from seed, grow the seeds that come from the cross. I just think that will look really cool, because imagine this colour on a breakdance, like the more of a, I don't know what colour you'd really class that as, but I think that would look really cool. So that is the loose plan. Okay, right, I think I'm gonna leave it there. I've made a big mess that I'll need to clean up now. But yeah, I think, I'll end it off with a question for you guys. With my spathiphyllum that my nan got me, I want to put it into a different pot so that I can have it in either the bedroom or the living room. And the pots that I want to choose between is this really nice pot that my brother and his girlfriend got me. So it could either go in there, which I think will look really nice, or I wanted to put it in the face planter that my parents got me, because I think that would look really cool as well. But I just can't decide, and if you guys think that you have a preference, let me know, because I can't decide by myself, so I'll let you guys decide for me. All right, so I'm gonna leave it here. This video's turned out a lot longer than I was even planning it to be, but I guess that's a good thing. It is Sunday now, so I'm gonna need to edit and upload this today. But yeah, I hope you guys are just into seeing there's like compost in my coffee. Okay, cool. Right, if you guys enjoyed that, please do leave a like, and please subscribe if you are enjoying. It doesn't go unnoticed. So yeah, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching.